I'd like to welcome everybody here to the match between AuSable Valley and Northeastern Clinton, as we are just ready to start the A match. And up for Northeastern is John Winnick, and he leaves a solid 10-pin on lane 16. And up for AuSable Valley is Tim Rabideau. And he goes over to the Brooklyn side, leaving just the 5-pin. John Winnick goes for his 10-pin on lane 16. And converts. John has a 191 average going into today's game, as Northeastern is giving 190 pins a game to AuSable. As Tim Rabideau on lane 15 goes after his 5-pin, slides it by on the left. And up for Northeastern is Aaron Bayshard, and he puts it right in the pocket, getting all 10. Aaron has a 171 average coming into today's game. And that brings up for AuSable, Bill Seymour on lane 15. And he hits the head pin right on the nose, but he gets a break, leaving just the 6-pin. And on lane 16 for Northeastern is Craig Young, leaving a solid 10-pin. Craig is carrying a 201 average into today's game. As Bill Seymour for AuSable picks up the 6-pin, getting their first mark of the game, and Craig Young converts the 10-pin. As we are drawing to a close for another year of bowling here at Northeastern, there's just 3 games left. As Darren Forbes for AuSable strikes on 15, and Chris Anktil for Northeastern comes up a little light, leaving the 2-5. As both the boys teams for AuSable and Northeastern are pretty much out of the CVAC running. The only thing is that Northeastern girls are in a tie for first place with a few games left, as Chris Anktil takes out one of them, leaving just a 5-pin, giving them 9 for the frame. As our girls are tied for first place, and their last 3 games after today are with the other top teams in the league, so they want to do some damage here today. As Chris Turnbull for AuSable left the 4-6, but he picked off one of them for a 9 frame, and that brings up James Agony for Northeastern, as he misses the head pin to the right, leaving the 1-2-4-5. And up on lane 15 is Paul Drake for AuSable Valley. And he goes over to the Brooklyn side, leaving just the 3-pin. As James Agony goes for a spare on lane 16 and picks them all out. So 4 marks to start off the game for Northeastern. As Paul Drake try to go for a spare on lane 15. That brings up Tim Rabideau, leadoff man for AuSable on lane 16. And his ball going right of the head pin, gets 3 on his first ball. As Paul Drake goes for a spare, and he'll miss it on the left, giving him 9 for the frame. And that'll bring up John Winnick for Northeastern, working on a spare. As Tim Rabideau going for a spare, and he converts to get his first mark of the game. John Winnick puts one right in the pocket, leaving a 4-pin. Ball came up a little high in the pocket. Up for AuSable is Bill Seymour. And he puts another one in the pocket. He was working on his spare, so he gets a strike in the second frame. As John Winnick goes for his 4-pin, and he misses it to the left. So that's his first open. He has a 28 after 2 frames. As Darren Forbes for AuSable working on a strike, gets 8, leaving the 1-3. And Aaron Bayshard also working on a strike. His ball will miss the head pin to the right, leaving the 1-2-4. Darren Forbes goes for a spare and he converts. So AuSable's off to a good start here in the second frame as they've all marked so far. As Aaron Bayshard picks up his spare on lane 15. That brings up Chris Turnbull for AuSable on lane 16. He goes over to the Brooklyn, leaving just the 610. And on lane 15 is Craig Young. And he leaves another solid 10 pin. As Chris will go for a spare on lane 16. And he fouls. So that's an open. And Craig Young goes for his spare. And he converts. Now bring up Chris Sanctil for Northeastern on lane 15. And Paul Drake for AuSable on lane 16. Chris is coming in with a 171 average on the team. And he goes over to the Brooklyn and takes out all 10 to get his first mark of the game. As Paul Drake for AuSable Valley goes over to the Brooklyn, leaving the 5-9. As that brings up the anchorman for Northeastern, James Agony. Gets the ball a little out, but it comes back and he puts one right in the pocket, getting all 10. Paul Drake going for a spare. And he misses it to the right, getting the 9 pin out, giving him 9 for the frame. So after 2 frames, it's 350 for AuSable Valley and 184 for Northeastern. That brings up Tim Rabideau for AuSable Valley, work on lane 15, working on a spare. As he puts one right in the pocket, and he carries all 10 for a nice strike. That's John Winnick for Northeastern. And he puts one right in the pocket, leaving just the 7 pin. That's the 3rd ball in a row for John in the pocket. He still has not had a strike yet. As that brings up Bill Seymour for AuSable on lane 15. As John will go for a 7 pin. And he converts. Nice spare by John Winnick. And Bill Seymour for AuSable Valley, working on a strike. Misses the head pin to the left, leaving the 1-3-8. As Aaron Bayshard gets the ball a little out, tries to come back, but it comes up light, leaving the 2-4-8-10. So he was working on a spare. As he'll go for a spare. He hopes to at least pick off 3 of them, but he only gets 1, giving him 7 for the frame, giving him 43 after 3 frames. As Bill Seymour picks off the 1-3, leaving the 8 pin, giving him 9 for the frame, giving him a 48 after 3. As Craig Young up for Northeastern, puts it right in the pocket, knocking down all 10 that for his first strike of the game. Darren Forbes on lane 15 gets 8 on his first ball as he was working on a spare. And that brings up Chris Ankto working on a strike for Northeastern. Puts one right in the pocket and knocks down all 10, giving him a double. As Darren Forbes picks up his spare on lane 15. And that brings up Chris Turnbull for AuSable on lane 15 and James Agony, the anchorman for Northeastern on lane 16. As James puts one right in the pocket, giving him a double as well. As Chris on lane 15 for AuSable. Misses the head pin to the left, leaving the 1-3-6. As Tim Rabideau working on a strike on lane 16 for AuSable. Puts another ball in the pocket as he doubles. Tim Rabideau for AuSable has a 132 average coming into today's game. As Chris picks off a spare for his first mark of the game. That brings up the anchor man for AuSable, which is Paul Drake. AuSable Valley is without their top bowler today. He's also one of the top bowlers in the league, which is Matt LaFountain. So they have a little more handicap today because of that. So Northeastern's going to be giving a few more pins to him today. As Paul Drake on lane 15 on an open. Misses the head pin to the right, leaving the 1-2-4-7. As Paul goes for a spare, and he misses it to the left, leaving just a head pin, giving him 9 for the frame, giving him a 27 after 3 frames. And after 3 frames, it's 435 for AuSable Valley and 267 for Northeastern. As Bill Seymour for AuSable Valley on lane 16 strikes, and John Winnick for Northeastern puts one in the pocket again, and he carries them all down for a strike. That brings up Darren Forbes on 16 for AuSable Valley and Aaron Bayshard for Northeastern on lane 15. And Darren gets 6 on his first ball, leaving the 1-2-3-5. And Aaron puts another ball right in the pocket as he strikes. So the first 2 bowlers on each side have struck. And that brings up Craig Young for Northeastern. As Aaron Forbes misses his spare, gets two more, giving him 8 for the frame. Craig Young puts the ball right in the pocket, gets down all 10 as he doubles for Northeastern. That brings up Chris Turnbull for AuSable Valley on lane 16 and Chris Anktill for Northeastern on lane 15. As Chris Turnbull for AuSable leaves the 3-6-10. And Chris Anktill working on a double, leaves the 3-pin. And Chris for AuSable dumps it in the gutter, giving him 7 for the frame, giving him 41 after 4 frames. And Chris Anktill going for a spare and converts. And that brings up the anchorman for both teams. Paul Drake for AuSable on lane 16 and James Agnew on lane 15. Paul, who has not had a mark yet, gets 5 on his first ball. And James Agnew working on a double. Puts one right in the pocket as he triples. As they hang Chris Anktill. So good frame for Northeastern. 4 strikes. 2 are doubles. And 1 spare. So that'll get him right back into this game. Paul going for a spare. Takes out the 9-pin, giving him 6 for the frame, giving him a 33 after 4. Northeastern is only down 113 pins after 4 frames. So they've already made up about 90 pins so far in 4 frames. As Tim Rabideau on lane 15 for AuSable, working on a double. First ball misses to the left, getting 7, leaving the 1-3-6. John Winnick going over the Brooklyn side, leaving the 1-3-9. As Tim Rabideau goes for a spare. And he gets the 1-3, leaving the 6, giving him 9 for the frame, giving him 84 after 5 frames. And John Winnick picks up his spare for Northeastern as he was working on a strike. That brings up Aaron Bayshard for Northeastern on lane 16 and Bill Seymour for AuSable Valley on lane 15. As Aaron goes a little heavy, leaving just the 6-pin. And Bill for AuSable misses the head pin to the left, leaving the 1-3-6. Aaron going for a spare on 16, and he converts it. He's working on a strike. That brings up Craig Young for Northeastern. As Bill Seymour converts his spare for AuSable Valley, as he was also working on a strike the frame before. As Craig Young leaves a solid 10-pin on lane 16. He was working on a double. And Darren Forbes for AuSable Valley goes over to the Brooklyn, leaving just a 5-pin. And Craig Young converts the 10-pin as he spares up in the 5th frame. Chris Anktel for Northeastern on lane 16. Working on a spare as he goes over to the Brooklyn side, getting a strike. And Aaron Forbes takes out the 5-pin, giving him a spare in the 5th frame. That brings up the anchorman for Northeastern, James Agony, working on 3 in a row. And puts another ball in the pocket as he throws his 4th one in a row. And Chris Turnbull for AuSable puts the ball right in the pocket and carries all 10. As it brings up the leadoff man for AuSable Valley, Tim Rabideau, on lane 16. Working on an open. He gets 7 on his first ball, leaving the 1-3-8. And Paul Drake, anchorman for AuSable, goes over to the Brooklyn side, leaving just the 3-pin. As Tim Rabideau goes for a spare on lane 16. And he takes out the 2 front pins, leaving the back one, giving him 9 for the frame, giving him a 93 after 6. And Paul Drake gets his first mark of the game, as AuSable has 4 marks in the 5th frame, and after 5 frames, it's 495 for Northeastern and 564 for AuSable Valley. And that brings up Bill Seymour for AuSable on lane 16, leaving just a 2-pin as he was working on a spare. And John Winnick gets 8 on his first ball, leaving the 6-10. As Bill Seymour takes his spare out. 3 marks in the 6th frame, and John Winnick for Northeastern chops the 6 off the 10, giving him 9 for the frame, giving him 95 after 6. And Darren Forbes for AuSable Valley gets 9 on his first ball, leaving the 4-pin. And brings up Aaron Bayshard, working on a spare for Northeastern. Ball doesn't quite come back as he gets 6 on his first ball, leaving the 1-2-8-10. And Darren Forbes will pick his spare up on lane 16. We have a little delay here as the ball is stuck. But up for AuSable on lane 16 is Chris Turnbull working on a strike. Little light in the head pin, leaving the 2-4-5. And Chris Turnbull misses his spare on lane 16, giving him 7 for the frame, giving him a 65 after 6. As Aaron Bayshard's ball hasn't come back yet. And it finally does come back. So he'll go for his washout spare. Gonna put the ball on the left side of the head pin just like that, as he converts his spare nicely. And that brings up Craig Young working on a spare. And that brings up Paul Drake for AuSable working on a spare as well. Ball just a little late in the pocket, leaving the 2-5. Craig Young puts one in the pocket, carries all 10. And I'll bring up Chris Anktil for Northeastern, as Paul Drake goes for his spare on lane 16 and chops the 5 pin off the 2 pin, getting him 9 for the frame, giving him a 60. After 6 frames, as Chris Anktil puts one right on the nose, leaving just the 6 pin. So he was working on a strike. Chris picks up his spare in lane 15. That brings up the anchor man for Northeastern, James Agony, working on 4 in a row. James Agony working with a 203 average coming into today's game. Throws his 5th in a row. And John Winnick carries it high, giving him a strike. James Agony has the highest series in the league this year with a 754, and that is supposedly the best series ever in the CVAC. As James wants to throw at least one more 700 because the young man from Plattsburgh has already thrown 2 of them this year. And Bo wants to have that record too. As Aaron Bayshard for Northeastern on lane 16, leaving the 2-4-5. So he was working on a spare. And Tim Rabideau on lane 15 leaves just the 5 pin on his first ball. As Aaron misses his spare, gets 2 of them, gives him a 105 after 7. Craig Young. There's another ball in the pocket as he doubles up. It's Tim Rabideau. Picks up his spare in lane 15 as he starts off the 7th frame for AuSable Valley. As Chris Anktil working on a spare, puts the ball right in the pocket and takes them all out as he strikes in the 7th frame. As Bill Seymour strikes for AuSable Valley on lane 15, James Agony will try to throw his 6th in a row, trying to hang Aaron Bayshard. Put one right in the pocket and carries him. Throws his 6th in a row as he's starting to string it. And Darren Forbes for AuSable Valley puts the ball right in the pocket, leaving just a 9-pin. As Darren misses a spare on lane 15, as he has a 109 after 7 frames. As that brings up Chris Turnbull for AuSable Valley on lane 15. And the leadoff bowler for AuSable, Tim Rabideau on lane 16. As Chris puts one right in the gutter on his first ball. So yeah, he'll have a full rack for his second ball. Tim Rabideau working on a spare for AuSable. This head pin to the left, leaving the 1-3-8. As Chris goes for a spare on lane 15. And as he gets 5 on his second ball, giving him a 70 after 7 frames. And Tim Rabideau on lane 16 picks up his spare for AuSable Valley, and that brings up the anchorman for AuSable, Paul Drake. As he missed the head pin to the left, leaving the 1-5-8-9-10. Paul goes for his spare as he takes out 3 of them, giving him 8 for the frame, giving him a 68 after 7. And after 7 frames, it's 710 for AuSable Valley and 694 for Northeastern. As Bill Seymour working on a strike on lane 16. Goes over to the Brooklyn and doubles up for AuSable Valley. And John Winnick, as he also doubles for Northeastern. That brings up Darren Forbes for AuSable Valley and Aaron Bayshard for Northeastern. Darren carries out a strike. So it's a good start so far for the AuSable 8th frame as Aaron Bayshard puts his ball in the pocket and leaves a solid 10-pin. As Chris Turnbull up for AuSable Valley. And for the second time on his first ball, puts one right in the gutter. So he'll have another full rack to shoot at. Aaron Bayshard goes for his 10-pin. And it falls in the gutter, giving him 9 for the frame, and he's got a 114 after 8. That brings up Craig Young for Northeastern. As Chris will try to pick up his spare for AuSable Valley. And it drops in the other gutter. Craig Young puts his in the gutter. As Craig was working on a double. As Craig will shoot his spare ball here. Just waiting to put the 0 up on his score. As he goes for a spare in lane 15. And he goes over to the Brooklyn, getting 8, leaving the 3-9, giving him a 154 after 8 frames. As Paul Drake, the anchor man for AuSable Valley, leaves just the 7-pin. It's Chris Ankto working on a strike. Leaves the 4-6-9-10 as he puts the ball right on the head pin. As Paul will go for his spare. And that'll go right in the gutter, giving him 9 for the frame. He's got 77 after 8. As Chris will try to get 3 anyway, as he does. 3 3 pins there is 6 since he was working on a strike. As he has a 146 after 8 frames, as Northeastern will take the lead here. As James Agony working on 6 in a row. Pulls it, goes over to the Brooklyn, leaving the 5-7 split. John Winnick working on a double. Puts it right in the pocket, leaving a 10 pin. James goes for a spare. Takes the 5 pin out, getting 9 for the frame. As he has a 196 after 8 frames. John Winnick goes for his spare, and that falls in the gutter. So after 9 frames for John, he has a 152. And after 8 frames, it's 801 for Northeastern and 759 for AuSable Valley. As Tim Rabideau, the leadoff man for AuSable Valley, working on a spare. Goes over to the Brooklyn, leaving just the 5 pin. Aaron Bayshard puts the ball right in the pocket, leaving the 10 pin again. As Tim goes for a spare, and he'll convert to start off the AuSable 9th frame as Aaron Bayshard falls in the gutter, giving a 123 after 9 frames. As Bill Seymour working on a double for AuSable Valley. Going over to the Brooklyn, and he triples up for AuSable Valley. Craig Young also goes over to the Brooklyn. Northeastern's got to start marking, and they're going to lose this. They're going to lose their lead that they have. As that brings up Darren Forbes working on a strike, and Chris Anktel for Northeastern on an open on lane 16. As this ball tries to go over the Brooklyn, leaving the 3-6. As Darren comes up a little light, leaving the 3-5. As Chris goes for a spare and converts it. So that's Northeastern's 2nd mark of the frame. As Darren spares up for AuSable Valley. That brings up James Agony for Northeastern. And Chris Turnbull for AuSable Valley. As James has to get a new rack as there's a 4 pin missing. As Chris will shoot. And puts one right in the pocket. Trips out the 4 pin, giving him a strike. It's a lot better than his last 2 first balls, which he put in the gutter. So AuSable Valley, who was trailing coming into this frame, is mounting a comeback. And this game will come down to the 10th frame. Paul, the anchor man for AuSable, gets 4 pins on his first ball. As James Agony comes up heavy, leaving the 4-7. Paul going for his spare. And he gets 4 more, giving him 8 for the frame. James Agony going for his spare. Chops the 7 off the 4, giving him 9, giving him a 205 after 9. And going into the 10th frame, it's 848 for Northeastern and 846 for AuSable Valley. As John starts off the 10th frame with a strike. And Tim Rabideau for AuSable working on a spare. Leaves just the 6 pin. He gets 9 on his first ball. John trying to throw a double, and he does. Northeastern needs all the pins they can get now, because AuSable has the advantage as they have more guys working on marks. As Tim goes for a spare and he converts. As John Whittick throws his fill ball, and he triples up in the 10th frame, giving him a 182, which is 9 pins under his 191 average. As Tim Rabideau finishes up his 10th frame. So he gets 6, and Aaron Bayshire throws a strike for Northeastern. As Tim Rabideau throws a 164 game, which is 32 pins above his 132 average. As Aaron will try to throw another strike in the 10th frame. And he puts another one in the pocket. So he doubles up. As Bill Seymour was working on a triple, gets 6 on his first ball. Aaron goes over to the Brooklyn, getting 9. So a good frame, giving him a 152, which is 19 pins below his 171 average. As Bill Seymour gets 3 out of the 4, giving him a 191, which is 43 pins above his 148 average. Craig Young comes up late, leaving just the 2-pin as he was working on a strike. And Darren Forbes working on a spare gets 6 on his first ball, leaving the 1, 2, 4, 5. Yes, Craig Young will try to spare up, and he does. As Darren misses his spare, giving him a 151, which is 19 pins above his 132 average. As Craig Young throws his fill ball, goes Brooklyn, getting 7 for the frame, giving him a 191, which is 10 pins below his average. As Chris Turnbull for AuSable Valley doubles up. That brings up Chris Anktill for Northeastern, working on a spare. And he strikes on his first ball. As Chris working on a double, leaves the 4, 7, 10. As Chris Anktill throws the second ball in the 10th frame, leaves just the 5-pin. As Chris puts it in the gutter, giving him a 114, which is 27 pins below his average, as Chris fares up, giving Chris a 186 game, which is 15 pins above his average. As Northeastern will win this first game, as Paul Drake gets 5 on his first ball. And James Agony throwing his first ball in the 10th, leaves the 6-pin. Paul picks up his spare. As James Agony picks up his spare. Ball throws his fill ball. And gets 6, giving him a 101, which is 31 pins below his average. And James Agony just leaves the 4 pin, giving him a 224, which is 21 pins above his 203 average. So after the first game, Northeastern wins 983 to 957, and I'll turn the mic over to Nick Winnick.